Today, we're diving into the incredibly deep and, let's be honest, complex history of a nation that's been at the center of world events for thousands of years, Afghanistan.
I'm sure you've heard this phrase before. It's powerful, it's dramatic, and it's a title that's been earned over centuries and centuries of conflict. I mean, think about it. From Alexander the Great to the British Empire, from the Soviets to the United States, so many global powers have found this land just notoriously difficult to hold. And this history of fierce, stubborn resistance, well, it has profoundly shaped its national identity.
That's the real question, isn't it? Why this constant struggle for a landlocked, mountainous country? The answer, as you're about to see, isn't just about war. It's about something much deeper.
Yeah, to really get what's happening today, we have to look past all the headlines about conflict. We've got to see Afghanistan for what it has always been: a pivotal hub of exchange, a true melting pot of cultures, and a strategic center of the world. Okay, let's dive in.
So, when we say Afghanistan has always been a crossroads, what does that actually mean? What does that look like on the ground? Well, geographically, it's the literal point where these great regions collide. You've got the incredible Hindu Kush Mountains acting like a spine, connecting all these different worlds. This geography created this amazing mosaic of ethnic groups: Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, Uzbeks, and so many more, each with their own distinct traditions. It's what created this incredible cultural richness that's defined the region for thousands of years. And because of this unique position, as empires rose and fell, they all passed through Afghanistan. And every single one of them left their mark. And this just brilliantly illustrates the layers of history here. So you start with the Persians, who bring in organized governance. Then Alexander the Great marches through, founding cities and infusing the whole area with Greek culture. After that, you get the Kushan Empire, which leads to this golden age of Buddhism. And later on, Islamic dynasties turn cities like Herat into world-renowned capitals of art and literature. You see, every single wave added something new to the mix.
And you can literally see this fusion in action. This wasn't just about conquest, it was about synthesis. You had Persian as the language of government, you had Greek-style cities like modern-day Kandahar, and maybe most fascinating of all, you get this unique Greco-Buddhist art, where statues of the Buddha look like they were carved by Greek sculptors. This cultural blending, that is the true story of early Afghanistan. Okay, so after millennia of being part of other empires, how did Afghanistan become its own unified state? That's the next crucial chapter in this story.
This is the date, 1747. In the mid-18th century, the great Persian ruler Nader Shah is assassinated, and that creates a massive power vacuum.
So, seizing this moment, a brilliant Pashtun military commander named Ahmad Shah Abdali, who would become Ahmad Shah Durrani, unites all these different Afghan tribes. At a grand council, a jirga, he's chosen as their leader, and with that, he establishes the Durrani Empire, creating, for the very first time, a unified, independent state that we can recognize as the foundation of modern Afghanistan. But, forging a nation didn't mean an end to foreign interference. Not at all. In the 19th century, Afghanistan found itself caught squarely between two of the world's most powerful empires. And this brings us to the Great Game. On one side, you've got the British Empire, absolutely desperate to protect its most valuable colony, India. And on the other side, you have the Russian Empire, pushing steadily south. Afghanistan was the buffer zone, the strategic prize right in the middle. Both empires were terrified of the other gaining control, and that led to a century of intrigue, diplomacy, and, yes, outright war. This struggle played out over 3 major wars. The first ended in one of the most infamous defeats in British military history. Their entire force was nearly annihilated during the retreat from Kabul in 1842. In the Second War, Britain did manage to gain control over Afghanistan's foreign policy, but they just couldn't sustain a full occupation. Finally, in 1919, after a third, shorter war, the reformist ruler Amanullah Khan successfully asserted Afghanistan's full, unqualified independence. This victory, however, didn't end the pattern. As the 20th century dawned, the players changed, but the game remained dangerously similar.
Just look at the sheer velocity of change here. After independence, there's a period of relative stability, but then, boom, a coup in 1973 ends the monarchy, then a communist revolution, followed by the Soviet invasion in '79. That decade-long war gives way to a devastating civil war, from which the Taliban emerged to take power in '96. And that, of course, sets the stage for the U.S. invasion after 9/11. It's just a century of relentless turmoil.
And this is where we see the great game repeat itself, just in a new form. The Soviet Union and the United States poured money, weapons, and ideology into the country, backing different sides. The Soviet invasion was a direct intervention, while the U.S. support for the Mujahideen was a classic proxy war. And the result for Afghanistan? The same as before. Catastrophic conflict fueled by foreign powers. And we really can't talk about this history without confronting the staggering human cost. These are not just statistics. During the Soviet-Afghan War, it's estimated between 1 and 2 million Afghan civilians lost their lives. The civil war that followed displaced hundreds of thousands more. And the post-2001 conflict added over 170,000 direct war deaths to that toll. Decades of near-constant warfare have left deep, deep scars on the country. And that brings us to the present moment. Following the withdrawal of U.S. and NATO forces in 2021, Afghanistan is at another pivotal turning point. The situation today is incredibly challenging. The Taliban's rapid return to power led to the collapse of the government. The country is now facing a dire humanitarian crisis, made even worse by international sanctions and frozen financial assets. And, of course, we've seen a devastating rollback of rights, especially for women and girls, who have been largely excluded from public life and education. The future under the restored Islamic Emirate remains deeply, deeply uncertain.
Which leaves us with this final, central question. For thousands of years, this nation's path has been shaped by the ambitions of outsiders who saw it as a strategic prize. Its identity as a crossroads has brought both incredible cultural wealth and immense suffering. The question now is whether that road can finally lead to a future determined not by empires but by its own people.